Up next, I'm excited to introduce Tom Watson. Come on stage. He is the VP of Licensing, Partnership, NFTs, and Metaverse at McLaren Automotive. Who loves McLaren Automotive? Yeah, I know. I am so excited and honored to be able to talk with him tonight, or today, this afternoon.
Hey, guys.
All right, Tom, welcome to London, or NFT London.
Yeah, so I live in London.
I was going to say, yeah.
Welcome.
You live here. Yeah, it's been really fun getting to know you and getting to know a little bit more about McLaren's vision. So why don't you tell the crowd just a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to and what McLaren's initiatives have been recently. I'm
happy to do that. I want to make one observation first, though. I've been sitting and listening to a few talks today, and there's a lot of discussion about, how early it is in the process. At least that's my sense of the mood, right? There's a lot about friction in the system and MetaMasks and how do we get more mass adoption and the weird thing I wanted to say, the observation I made was, to us it never really occurred that it was early. We love the space, we think it's cool, we do it, and I think that kind of sums up our DNA as a brand. Is we want to be pioneering, we want to do stuff that's new and interesting and maybe not fully formed or fully finished yet, and that's very important to us. It's been very important to us making cars over the last 11 years, and I think this is a fantastic space for us to have a crack at that.
Well, it's well said, Tom. And McLaren has been a pioneer in design and innovation and technology since its inception, essentially. And so it makes sense that you guys took a look out into the broader area, and you really have been the driving force within McLaren to really learn and get this through. What challenges have you faced, or have you learned through? Because we all learn through experience together, right? As we actually do things.
Yeah, look, it's a weird company to work at in lots of ways because people don't distinguish too much between McLaren Racing, that's our Formula One team, or our IndyCar team, soon to be our Formula E team next year, and the automotive side. So the brand is nearly 60 years old. And Bruce McLaren started the brand in '63. But automotive I work for is actually only 11 years old. And so for us, we kind of still feel like a bit of a startup, really. I mean, it might sound crazy, but we kind of do. But I think that goes with the whole set of challenges for us. So for background, for context, I look after all the licensing and all the partnerships for McLaren Automotive worldwide. And that, of course, includes the kind of Web3 space. But it also includes stuff like, I don't know, Lego or Pirelli or Gulf Oils or, I don't know, luggage. If we make a building, that's what we do, right? So it's kind of a broad spectrum. I think one of the biggest challenges is just internally, right? I mean, I work with a bunch of people who hit metal with hammers for a living, right? We still make those cars by hand, and so the whole Web3 space, the whole NFT language is, to some degree alien to those guys. So there's a lot of internal education about what we're doing and what we would like to do in that space, or how that could look, and to be honest, also amongst the management team, a fair degree of nervousness too, right? Is this all just some giant rug pull? Is it all just a big scam? It's taken a lot of genuinely blood, sweat, and tears just to get to this point, I would say.
Yeah, well said. Well, and your partnership and collaboration is very much a huge part of the ethos of this space. When it comes to collaborations, what are you thinking about in the Web3 space, and does that change? Like, is that different from Web 2, or not even Web 2, from what you guys do on a daily basis to bringing it into Web 3?
I mean, if I may, I mean, we started talking about NFTs, I guess, just over a year ago, right? And I don't need to tell you how different the world looked in this space a year ago. And let's be totally transparent here. Yeah, of course, there is a commercial interest, particularly 12 months ago, in this space and how hot it was, and thinking about what other supercar luxury brands might or might not be doing in that space, and wanting to be first to market or wanting to be right up there. We've had to kind of rethink, I think, a lot about what we are doing and what we want to do with this space going forward. We had our Genesis drop in May, and I've been really pleased also today to attend a few talks, talking a lot about community and talking a lot about membership and less about, for me, NFT is just the methodology, right, in a way. So we have created a car club. We have 2,000 to date, at least, 2,000 NFTs out there. And we are offering those holders a bunch of different utility. We have, track days that we have offered. We have early access. We have also free stuff, which is nice. We have AMAs, and so and we are working on that. Is it perfect? No, definitely not. But we are working on that space, and we are also figuring it out. We're building the plane as we fly it a little bit, as we figure out how to navigate that space. And I think, as a quote unquote brand, which I guess we are, right? You feel the responsibility at the same time. You don't want to make a big mess at the same time. So we are, finding our way through that, and particularly given the current climate. And so collaboration, you mentioned, I think is really important to us. We are very, very open. We are very, very interested in collaboration. But I think for us, we try to take the same logic that we apply in every other aspect of our licensing business, which is about what is true, what is authentic, what is credible in the space that we're in. We're not really interested in just putting a badge on it and sticking it and just chucking it out of the door. It's not interesting to us, and we also don't feel that's interesting to our community either our owners of cars or indeed our NFT holders. So partnerships in a credible way with a strong narrative and a kind of reason to believe in that project is really, really important to us.
Well, it's really well said. I've had the pleasure of being able to speak with Tom. Also, I think that authenticity is a huge part of this time right now, and you're here during the builder time. And so I really encourage, Tom is here. He is the driving force behind McLaren, wanting to really build and learn, and knows that collaboration is a huge part of this success.
So if you have some cool stuff, hit me up. Okay.
Yeah, come say hi to Tom. But I know that you've thought a lot through about utility and engagement. I mean, where do you really see NFTs being? I know we're very much, it's a different time than we were in 2021, absolutely. But right now, you're here. What are you learning, and what do you see? Is it utility, engagement? How do you see this kind of evolving for McLaren?
It's interesting, because we do want to offer holders utility, but we're also a business. We can't just continue to throw money at, sending people to Pebble Beach, Monterey Car Week. That's an $8,000 experience for a couple of people. That's not something we can just continually do until the end of time, right? So we also need some return on investment, just speaking as a business. So how do we navigate that? How do we manage that? How do we orient ourselves so that the utility that we offer is interesting, is cool, but we also find a way to some degree to net out so that it's not a giant loss-making exercise for us. We're not Audi, right? We're not Mercedes. We don't have those budgets. We're a relatively small British supercar company. We're still independent. We don't have those deep pockets. So we got to find a way to make that interesting. And different. That helps us. It forces us to be creative as well, which is good.
Well, I mean, it sounds like McLaren is certainly poised right now. Since you guys experimented, you guys did the Genesis drop.
We did.
How did that go? How was it received? And how did it all kind of come together for you?
So we minted. We offered 2,000 NFTs. 2012 actually, because that was the year that the P1 car. Any of you guys know the P1 car? That car is freaking awesome.
Amazing.
So that car, we offered artwork of that car, but again, it's entry into our community. It's called MSO Lab, and we've continued to offer utility on the back of that drop. The drop it went really well. I mean, our timing was utterly terrible because it was the lunar week, believe it or not. And I was actually in Miami at the F1 Grand Prix that same weekend, and it was a completely crazy weekend. But we did sell out in 4 days, so
wow.
At half an ETH. So it's nice. But we also feel the responsibility of that, and we have 60,000 people in Discord. They're not quiet, and understandably. So we also want to make sure that we engage with those guys and that they feel value, right? we've talked a lot. I've heard a lot today about community and how important engagement is. So yeah, we're still learning on how to manage all of that in the right way, I think.
Well, and I love this conversation because honestly, whenever I talk to Tom, and I hope you all get a chance to actually come up and speak with him, it's very transparent and honest about, that's what we need to understand. What are the problems? Identify the problems, and then find the solutions together, right? And I think one thing that you keep on saying is, creative. It's forcing you to be creative. You're small, nimble. That's basically what we're all doing right now. And when you're thinking about the next generation, right? Of how does the next generation get to experience that P1? How are you thinking this technology might be a part of that?
I mean, look, the reality is, right? We make 4,000 cars a year. That's it. Right? Audi probably makes that an hour. Right? We're just not in the same space, and those cars are freaking expensive. Right? So, for me, one of the cool things about this space, about the Web3 space, is being able to give that experience of eventually of driving a McLaren to more people, right? How do we democratize that in a cool way? And I remember the first time that I got in a McLaren. I mean, I don't come from automotive. I have a luxury background, but kind of inside the company, everyone just treats it like normal. You just get in this $400,000 car, right? You're like, so I'm kind of pretty intimidated when I get to have that first experience, and I don't know how many people have had the chance, but first of all, you have to try and find the door handle because it's hidden inside all the aerodynamics, right? So I find the door handle, I get that. And then, of course, the doors go up like this, And I drive an SUV, sorry, like a lot of people do. I have a lot of children, I can't help it. So I'm used to climbing upwards when you get in a car, right? But this is all the way down. It's so low to the ground. But you find you get into the car, you're sitting really cocooned in the space, and then you kind of reach up, and then you pull the door down, and there's that very satisfying thunk sound. And then there's just quiet, right? You feel that kind of moment of anticipation just before you press that big red button, right? That is a feeling and I don't know, it's apprehension or intimidation, but also excitement, nervousness, and then just fun. Yeah. How do you share that with more people, right? How do you, spread that feeling amongst a broader range of people, I think.
Well, and that's, we've been hearing, and Tom has really been intently listening to a lot of these conversations, right? And we've been hearing about how NFTs intrinsically really they're a tool for direct engagement, right? Yes, it's about utility and rewarding, but it's that direct engagement of feeling like, okay, I'm a little part of this brand right now, right? That brand loyalty. Have you seen that kind of take off a little bit with the Genesis? Obviously, it's an experiment. You're learning.
I mean, look, we have a range of people. We have a guy in our community. He has 765 LT. That's our top of the top supercar. There's limited edition. It's a very expensive machine. He bought 11 NFTs. I mean, the guy is a super fan, right? We love those guys. We want to engage more with those guys, but equally, we'd love to bring people in to the community who don't have that purchasing power, who don't have that experience, but love what we do. And I think that's the balance of those, and the opportunity that this space, that Web3 provides to offer that more broadly, is really cool.
I love that. And, it's challenging. We've talked about this is not easy for brands to figure out. We're in a difficult time. And so right now, but you've taken on the challenge. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what evolves in the next year or year and a half, because...
Yeah, and I think, my message to the board is, look, and it's sometimes not an easy message to transmit, but my message to the board is, look, if you're going to have fun, if you're going to do some cool shit, then this is the space to do it. Right? Don't worry too much about it, right? We're not going to get it all right. We'll probably make mistakes along the way. We'll probably do stuff that doesn't work. That's okay. That's what being a pioneer is all about.
100%.
So, we will continue to develop that and grow that, and just go out and play and have fun. And hopefully our fans enjoy that, and hopefully our followers enjoy that, and, we'll see where the journey goes.
Well, I can't wait to see what's next for McLaren and ahead. Tom, thank you so much for being here. We are honored to have you. And please come over to Tom and say hi. Thank you. We're all lucky
Thanks,
to have
Al.
you in this space, Tom. Thank you.